I've been debuting for the last 6 years. Okay, every set I go to, it's touted as my debut, and I'm like, bro, I debuted like when I was 19.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the movie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe finally after this I will stop debuting. Can I just be an asshole? You know, because I feel like I'm so stressed. My life is a badly written sitcom.
Hi Shibani.
Hi Bani.
Thank you so much for coming. I've been a big fan of all the characters that you've played
Thank you. My
on
pleasure.
Instagram and on the internet. So pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Bani. My pleasure. Seriously.
You know, we were discussing amongst ourselves. Firstly, congratulations on your movie.
Right.
Very, very excited for it.
Thank you.
And, you know, we were just thinking that now so many of, you know, content creators
Right.
are coming in mainstream cinema as actors. Did you always want to be an actor?
Bani, personally, like, speaking for myself, I did. My journey started in the content space also because I came from an acting background largely. Like, whatever, I was working in the capacity of a journalist for about a decade, and then moonlighting as a theatre actor in Delhi. I've been doing theatre since I was 5 years old. So I think my journey started quintessentially as an actor, and then content came as a consequence of that, because the moment the world started opening up, like in the web space, for performers or, you know, sketches and all, that's when the segue happened. And I do feel like, you know, from whatever I know, whoever I've spoken to in the content space, I think a lot of them are just people who are performers, who want to act, who have had some form of training or just understand the whole concept of, you know, plot resolution or plot conflict resolution, whatever, because of which they get into the content space. And eventually, you know, as a natural progression, people want to eventually take it to a bigger platform. So I guess in that capacity, yeah, maybe.
No, but we are very excited to see you on screen in that to such a big movie. And so many of you, like really fun people are going to be coming together. So
Yeah.
And I love the tagline. It says Kacha Pyar, Kaminapan and Kalesh.
Yeah. I mean, that was a caption tagline for like one of the posts. But yeah, like that's the story in a nutshell also, you know.
Of the three, what do you relate to the most?
Kalesh.
I would have said the same. I like Kaminapan, I don't relate to personally. I don't think you would either. But Kalesh is evergreen.
And Kacha, I'm too old for Kacha Pyar. So, you know, it's all Kalesh now. So,
but fun. So now we also know you moved to Bombay.
Right.
From Delhi.
Yeah.
I'm from Delhi and I love Delhi. And, you know, to imagine moving to any other city just feels too overwhelming. But how has that experience been for you?
It's been okay, Bani. I feel like every time I go to Delhi, I don't feel like coming back home. I still feel like that kid who has serious separation anxiety from, you know, her home and parents. वो स्कूल जाने से पहले होता था ना कि नहीं जाना, छुट्टी कर दो. It's that. It's still that. But I do also feel like I have a certain comfort that I have with the city. There's a lot of familiarity that I've built over the years. I remember I was 20 when I'd come to Bombay for the first time. I was studying here. That was a terrible experience because everything was new, and this city can be a bit of a culture shock, especially when you come from Delhi and if you've had a protected like life. But now it's been okay. I mean, I imagined the worst and none of that has happened. It's been comfortable. I know enough people. I know how the city works, where to get what from. So yeah, it's been cool like that.
Yeah, and like, how is the auditioning process? Like, let's say koi aata hai Bombay to be an actor.
Right.
What would you say is like the hustle that one needs to do?
Yeah, you know, honestly, Bani, I don't really know what is the protocol when you are literally starting out. Because I've been auditioning since I was 17. You know, a lot of it used to happen in Delhi. I've maybe cracked something here and there when I was in college in my teens. So I feel like I've been in the database for more than a decade now.
You've also been very active on the internet now.
Yeah, and I think that somewhere created a scenario where I didn't have to go around, you know, meri profiles hain in people's offices. Like, I'd just get people reaching out to me. But I imagine it is tough and easy at the same time. I feel like when you start out, there's a lot more energy, and if people don't know you, you can actually pitch yourself the way you'd like to see yourself being on camera, you know, and then maybe network and build your way up, go to offices, literally start from scratch. Like, I know so many people who do that, who just go to Aram Nagar and go to different offices or hustle a contact of somebody who's working with a casting agent or someone and just show up and they give their intro, and you know, so you have to basically make your way into their database. And I think once you are in there and once you've been doing it for about a year, 2 years, your contact, your name, everything like expands. Things get shared around, because of which auditions then automatically start rolling in. I mean, whether you crack them or not is a different ballgame altogether. Sometimes you could crack everything, sign the contract and still be thrown out of projects like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because you know, the field बहुत unstructured hai. There is no accountability. I've also realized when producers and directors make a product, it's a very selfish approach to do what's best for the product. And I feel like given that you don't have to have any specific qualifications or your work experience or your talent is not always necessarily the biggest, most precious asset in this industry. There's a lot of like overlaps of other people eating into, you know, their networks and like getting a role, you getting finalized, and then the channel intervening and the script changing. Or sometimes, you know, the team imagines a certain character a certain way and then suddenly 2 weeks before the shoot, their imagination changes.
But you know, I've heard this from so many people.
Right.
Because in an interview, Deepika also said the same thing. Like, you literally are this close to doing something, and suddenly you get to know it's not happening. One must feel so dejected. I think that's so unfair.
It's very unfair. And surprisingly, I was having this discussion yesterday with an actor friend of mine that even if you don't want to, as an artist, as a creative person, there is a certain inherent sense of self-doubt and maybe sensitivity that you carry. And regardless of how thick-skinned you may be, every rejection is personal, you know.
Of
you
course.
sit with
every
it.
Negative comment is also personal.
And then and because there is also no, you know, you can't really appeal it. Like, you can't, I've had so many conversations with casting directors and writers and directors also asking what went wrong, you know. And the answers are vague, so there is no closure. So you're just literally navigating all of this and reasoning and figuring it all out on your own while dealing with the whole processing of the grief of literally getting something and being thrown out last minute.
ये situationship वाला ही हो गया है.
Yeah, but much worse. Like, you can't even get back at anyone. You can't trash them. You can't warn anybody. इनके साथ मत करना, ये गंदे हैं, you know. So, because you can't really blame people. As I said, you know, their product is what matters. And it doesn't matter who you are as long as you're not serving the product, or if you're serving the product enough, you're in or you're out, depending on that. So, yeah.
That's very unfortunate. I mean, the unpredictability of this space is scary.
Yeah, completely.
And is it scary then to be doing this? I mean, of course, you've been doing this, as you said, since you were 17.
Yeah.
But let's say, I saw you in Trial by Fire, by the way.
Right.
I thought you were brilliant.
Thank you.
And I loved that show.
Right. It is quite a
great,
nice show.
I mean, heart-wrenching, but great.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, of course, you've been doing this for a while now.
Right.
But now you're coming in, let's say, a mainstream cinema kind of chick flick.
Right.
Let's say that, can we say actually rather, that this is the beginning of a new era for you? Do you feel it?
I don't know, Bani. You know, because this is honestly not my first rodeo. Like, I've done mainstream films. I've been debuting for the last 6 years, okay? Every set I go to, it's touted as my debut. And I'm like, bro, I debuted like when I was 19. Like, so I don't know. I've realized sometimes you could have your hopes pinned up to like something that looks very enticing and exciting. But the way the market is, and the way you know, because there are actors dime a dozen. Like, everywhere you look, somebody's either a content creator. Everybody's a celebrity these days. Everybody's doing something in the performance space. So there is a lot of supply and the demand is limited. So you don't really know whether any moment of glory will translate into longevity. That's my biggest, you know, takeaway from my experience in this. Secondly, I mean, I'm really excited about the movie, but I don't know how it will fare, because the footfall in theatres has been compromised.
100%.
It will eventually come down to being released on an OTT within 90 days of release. But again, it's also a very polarizing subject, you know. It's about the female orgasm. So I don't know whether, you know, like, how will it be received? What section of the audience is it going to entice? What will be the footfall in the theatres? What will be the response on OTT? Everything is questionable. So, I mean, one can't be sure. But I do have to say that this is probably the only film that I've done where the focus on marketing, the producers backing it up, the cast is strong enough that at least I won't have to go on every set and prove that, hey, I also act. Like, I am not just influencer, you know. So it'll just help me build some credibility, I'm guessing.
Yeah. No, we are very excited for it. In fact, it just occurred to me that it's the perfect film to actually go as a team also. So we'll take the full All About Eve
please do.
team and watch it.
You might just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of film we would enjoy it together as well, because it's an all women-led team.
Mostly, like, I think the women are in all the pivotal roles. The story is around a woman and her journey of self-discovery and orgasm.
So we are like literally 10 girls in the All About Eve team. So I think we should definitely go and watch this together, because it'll be fun. But I want to circle back to when you were talking about how you've been auditioning or debuting rather for 6 years. 6 years of debuting. And I remember seeing that I think you had hit some milestone, on Instagram. Maybe it was 100K followers or 200K followers, and you had said that it's taken me very long to get here.
Yeah, I mean, was it recently?
No, I think it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I found that very touching, because I really appreciated the honesty and vulnerability in that. But, you are working with so many of your peers right now. But, while on the side, you've also been an influencer. Did it ever feel like, we kind of started out at the same time, but, how their followers have grown was more like, did you ever feel dejected?
I do periodically, even now, Bani, but I don't know, because, Instagram's also a beast that operates on a straight, like, it's an AI gone rogue. So I frankly don't know what works or what doesn't work.
We are all figuring it out.
Yeah. And sometimes I do feel like, what I personally feel lacks in my content is maybe more vulnerability. I feel like I am good at playing characters. So I feel like that's something that I have realized, that because I am a performer and an actor, I can hide behind masks and do a good job of it. But I don't know how comfortable I am taking the mask off and showing myself entirely, which has somewhere maybe kept me away from, I don't know, being a brand more than just a person who does funny videos, and build a relationship and loyalty long enough in my audience where they come to my feed to watch me, as opposed to me playing a Priyanka ki mummy or some bhuaji or some auntie. Which is something that I'm working on. And I also do believe, given that I've been making content since 2016 or 17, I've been in this space for a while. Somewhere the lack of being young or Gen Z, or just knowing the nubs of like everyone, bacche boode ek saman, kahin na kahin somewhere gets in the way of growth. I feel like I'm too old a face for people to be like, oh, maybe she has something new to offer, unless I totally overhaul my content and become absolutely like naked in front of like, whatever from a...
But that's very hard. Like, I find it very hard to, every time we're thinking of posting something on social media, okay? And you look at anyone's feed. It's only a story of successes, na?
Yeah.
Mostly.
And I struggle with that too, because sometimes I do feel like when you work in spaces where there's no structure to things and you don't know where the lack of it or the abundance of it is coming from, and luck has a huge role to play, you do question your worth. But not everybody who starts out doing things turns into a... I mean, out of 10,000 million people who do something, maybe 10 become successes. Everybody else is just like working their way around, struggling, figuring it out, or rejecting themselves out of the system. Are their lives not worthwhile just because they didn't hit a big milestone and made assets through it. Like, yeah, but it's there, you know, sadly. It's a consequence of being a part of this
Also,
ecosystem.
मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि when have I ever taken a picture जब मैं sad थी?
That's, yeah.
तब थोड़ी किसी को कोई भी फोटो या वीडियो लेने का मन करता है. Like I'm most motivated to take a picture of even a beautiful place when I'm feeling good.
Right.
So just by virtue of that, you end up only capturing the good parts.
Right.
But then what makes you relatable is the vulnerability. So it's such a catch-22.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also trying to crack this. I've realized the more I open up, the internet can be a very vile place sometimes, but it's also a really kind place. Like there's a lot of compassion and kindness that I also receive from people. So maybe in terms of building your brand image, you just have to reveal yourself maybe to your people like a person.
Yeah.
Without overthinking too much. But yeah, I agree. You know, it's tough.
It's tough.
I have struggled with it as well, you know, where I don't want to sound
I don't think I have the courage to be able to do it. Let me just put it as blank.
I relate to you, Bani. When I feel like I don't want to be sobbing in front of people. I don't want to sound like a
मैं
whiner.
नहीं रो सकती Instagram पे. मतलब वो भी चलो I've had a really bad day and maybe I'll type it out.
Right.
But to put your face to something, I would be very afraid to do that somehow. I don't know.
I mean, it's as I said, you know, it's a struggle. I'm in the same boat where I don't think sometimes revealing too much of yourself can be healthy. But maybe it is to build a personal connection with your audience where they see you as someone, you know, they can hold on to for all spectrums of emotions. Yeah. So, I don't know.
It's also very stressful to be, you know, a public figure. Like, you know, in the recent past, we've seen so many content creators, if they've shared a part of their life, the audience has been brutal.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair.
Yeah.
Do you feel stressed about being a public figure? Like you'll go somewhere and you'll be seen and what you may be seen doing, which is very normal, but then you're perceived a certain way.
Yeah, all the time. And I wouldn't read too much into it, you know, let's say 3-4 years ago. But I think as I've grown, and I mean, number-wise, I've not hit any like big million club type whatever, but given that there has been visibility and the visibility has grown over the years, I do feel a little conscious of the fact that there is scrutiny.
Yeah.
You know, I remember there have been times when I've had a bad day, like I'm having a fight with a vendor over something, that as a person who's paying for something, I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
Or I'm having a bad day and I'm not in my best shape, or I'm not in a position where I can just like be cute and funny and do something just to, because you know, initially a lot of people would also approach me to like say things a certain way or do something funny for their video, and so there's too much demand sometimes which you as a person can't really comply with. But I've just become a little more cognizant of how I behave, what I say, because every time I've not been cognizant of it, I've had those people reach out to me in my DMs and scream and shout at me, like, you know, like whatever, give me grief. Ki aise, you look like the person who's like this person who screams. That's why you were screaming, you know, you're so famous and you're fighting with this person. And I'm like, but मैं हूँ तो इंसान ही ना, मतलब, you know. So, thoda sa, and also, I mean, I feel like in terms of dating also, I face this thing where I really don't know what is it that is getting this person to come on or go out on a date with me? Like, is it the persona they see online, or is it inquisitivity and curiosity to know me as a person? And if things don't work out, what the backlash will be like. I mean, you know, little things, because there are, like, I was recently talking to some creator friends of mine where they were speaking about this Reddit thing, where there's a lot of like gossip and rumor mongering that happens for creators, and it's a whole fucking section, whole universe. And a lot of them were like, you know, some of them are just abjectly like baseless. Untrue. But brands sometimes go on to those pages and take them, you know, like it's taken, like people read through it and somewhere do end up buying into it. So then you don't know what you do goes where, how it projects you out to be. Not that it matters, you know, Bani, I've also realized sometimes when people are talented, when they need you, you know, people, when they want to put their money on you because they need something from you, they go with it regardless. But still, you know, at a personal level, you do question, bhai, ki kitna bande chahiye, matlab, can I just be an asshole, you know, because I feel like I'm so stressed.
It's really unfair, you know, why should you miss out on a professional opportunity क्योंकि किसी ने आपके बारे में कोई personal rumor फैला दिया and now there's just this widespread discussion about it and it's bizarre. But I want to go back to you having just said that when you go on a date, you're wary of whether the person likes you for who you are. Is it your public perception? Is it the character? Shibani, I want to ask you, firstly, what is it like dating in your 30s?
So I've not been very cognizant of the shift from my 20s to my 30s because my dating life was quite bad in my 20s also. And so, I mean, it was bad then, it's kind of bad now. I feel like the vantage point that you have in your 30s is that you are the narratives that you hold on to when you're young as a woman, you know, based on your gender and how sometimes the whole world of dating and getting married in relationships is fed to you. You somehow start breaking away from that because a lot of the spaces in your life you fill with your own, you know, you basically create a world for yourself independently, which sometimes we are, you know, conditioned to have a man take care of. So I feel like in a lot of respects, you become your own person.
Yeah.
A lot of the shackles that keep you somewhere held back, you start seeing through those patterns, maybe some of us at least. I mean, I can't really talk
No, I agree because the inadequacies you're working towards filling on your own.
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of in your 30s, I mean, at least I, as much as I sometimes still struggle with toxic attachment patterns that I think I have for whatever reason, I see through a lot of bullshit. And whoever I've spoken to in their 30s, people don't really settle for shit. You know, nobody has time to waste.
True.
You see through people's potential if they haven't achieved it till then, you know. A lot of the weird romantic ideas around dating start taking a backseat and you start treating it as something that will serve you in a sustainable way and be healthy for you.
Yeah.
And for people around you, as well as maybe the life that you've built for yourself at that point. So I think the only tough thing is that you stop compromising on certain things which are non-negotiables. You figure out what your non-negotiables are and you don't settle for shit. I at least don't make excuses for bad people anymore, which is a huge shift from what I used to be in my 20s. But the sad thing is that as a woman, I don't know what the situation for men is dating in their 30s, but as a woman, you're also dealing with a lot of men who have access to a lot of women, sadly, who are also not raised to be their own people.
Yeah.
So you're constantly navigating a pool of people who, under the garb of either being intimidated or not wanting to work hard enough to get to the levels or places that women these days sometimes individually do, don't really want to go ahead with things.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, sometimes you just see through a few tropes that, I mean, at least I do, because of which I can't be fooled into like romanticizing something that is not
substantive.
Yeah. And will not serve me in the long run. So I think that's something that I struggle with, have been struggling with. I think the public persona thing also somewhere, not that I'm a phenomenal public figure, but I think the kind of work I do, a lot of people don't understand this job market, you know. There's a lot of backlash that content creators get. I feel like everywhere one goes, people do have a strange chip on their shoulder. Even this Reddit thing that I was telling you about, or the gossip mongering, comes from a place of having a chip on their shoulder because, to be honest, it looks like it's minimum effort and maximum returns. But you are parting with a piece of your soul constantly while being judged all the time. It's not a profession that a lot of people see potential in, take seriously. And there is obviously, you know, the public scrutiny thing, which may or may not entice people to want to, you know, get entangled with.
Yeah.
because either you, I mean, for whatever consequences it could entail, or for whatever reason, you know, breach of privacy or something.
Yeah.
So I think in that capacity, yeah, it's a double-edged sword for me.
Because they could think, do we also now become content?
Yeah, that too. And secondly, if there is a fuck up, you know,
sabko pata lagega.
So, you know, like you could do like whatever. There is power, and power is intimidating sometimes, you know.
I agree.
So I guess in that aspect. And then also the social prejudice, you know, ki I think I turned, like, since the time I crossed 35, like I realized even on dating apps, I don't find a lot of like matches, because maybe the demographic that a lot of men my age want to focus on is comparatively younger. So I constantly also sometimes run the risk of being fetishized and inappropriate questions around why am I single, and you know, I don't know, my sexuality, my character, everything.
I hate that, you know, and it's such a common notion, because a man at 39 is still a bachelor, but a woman at 39 is bichari.
Sadly.
ये बिचारी bachelor का बहुत होता है. मतलब you can be exactly the same age, as accomplished, as independent, but society views women with a very different lens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There is this like, it's a part of the whole objectification narrative where your prime. I feel like I have never been this empowered ever. Like, I do not want to go back to my 20s. This is my prime. But I think you as a person, as a gender, is pitched to be in your prime, in your early 20s. Basically, as long as you're not impressionable, you're not of worth. Which I think makes you a depreciating asset. And I see that, you know, even in microaggressions. Also the fact that, you know, at the age I'm in, or post 35, the chances of you being a very like fertile womb and all of that. All of these narratives somewhere, you know, feed into the strange prejudice that one senses when one tries to date. I feel like not everybody also has it so hard. I think maybe I'm just supposed to be an example. Like, you know, I'm supposed to go on platforms and be like, hey, you know, there's this romantic side, but then there's this dark side. And I've been there, so I can give you examples of that.
I think life is somewhere in the middle of the dark and the romantic possibly.
I also feel like, because I've also been disillusioned enough, I consciously don't really seek dates yet. But I might get into that. But I think the reason that I got out of it is because it's not been easy. And when it's not easy, you know, Bani, the tough is very tough. And it just makes you question yourself all the time. And I feel like the kind of profession I'm in, I'm questioning myself all the time anyway. I don't want that coming from my personal life.
I think you can handle stress in only one part of your life.
You know, you have to have something that doesn't like keep you on your feet and on your tenterhooks. So,
Speaking of 30s and 20s, I totally agree with you. I have never felt as liberated as I have after having turned 30. Like, I turned 30 and I think a switch went off. Because I dreaded it. I was petrified of the idea of turning 30. You know, that year, it was just like looming in my head that, oh my God, it's 30, like, you know. And in so many spheres of your life, you're not where you wanted to be. And of course, we've been conditioned to believe that, you know, there are certain milestones you have to achieve by a certain age. And, you know, my peers and my friends, so they are now on baby number 2.
Same.
And I'm nowhere even close to finding a partner, And I'm just like, but it's so secure and happy still.
You know, because you just
don't care anymore.
Build your life as per you want it. It's like there's this very interesting song that, you know, you by John Mayer, you fill all these empty spaces with things that make you feel at home. Basically, you make your life your home, a nurturing space. And I think that also sort of makes it tougher to invite people who wreck it, you know. So you don't want to date people who will come and destabilize everything that you've built over time. So
also,
that's
I'm
why
very lazy. Like, I don't know if you feel
Same,
that.
yaar,
Just like Monday to Friday, तो किसी की शक्ल नहीं देखने का आपके बाद.
I can imagine.
और weekend maybe I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like now go out.
I know. Sometimes it just feels like an effort that मुझे नहीं करना यार. I just rather watch Netflix.
You know, that anyway the odds are not in your favor, that most people will not appeal to you.
Yeah.
Then you're like, what a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I'd rather sit at home with my dog.
Yeah. No, and Bani, kabhi, you know, when things have to work out with people, whatever experiences I've had where things have worked out with potential suitors or whatever, it just happens very organically. So I've realized zindagi mein na kuch cheezon mein itni mehnat, itna syapa sardardi karna sometimes makes no sense. Yeah. And if it has to work out, I mean, I look at a lot of people, a lot of my friends who've met their husbands on random platforms and random places, and it just happens on its own.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, my journey will probably take longer than it's supposed to find a partner, or maybe it'll never happen. But in the meanwhile, I can just build on things that I have control and agency over.
Dude, you're starring in a kick-ass movie.
But you'd be surprised how many times that's not my achievements, my journey. I swear, Bani, like I feel like the life that I come from and the life that I've literally, by sheer hard work and effort, the life that I've found myself in, it seems incredible, even to me. Like if at the age of like 14, somebody were to tell me that these are the places and these are the rooms that you'll be in, I'd just be like, what the hell? But there is no credit. I'm neither asked and I'm neither appreciated or you know, given any form of validation for that. Everywhere I go, I think the first question that people ask you is whether you're married. Like they won't ask you, तुम क्या करते हो क्या नहीं, मतलब शादी हुई है कि नहीं हुई है, plan है, क्या, मतलब you know, you're basically always questioned about things that you don't have, and this shadi thing, this boyfriend thing,
oh man, it's too much.
It's too daunting.
Yeah.
It makes me also sometimes question कि मैंने जो भी किया है, is it all gun gobar? Like have I just been wasting my time? Should I have just prepared like to get a husband?
Yeah. But we don't celebrate women for their accomplishments.
Never. And it's really disconcerting because I mean, you just feel like everything that you've lived for is pointless. And it's funny because, you know, people on the other side who are married, it's not like life is all hunky-dory. That's a different struggle altogether, you know. I mean, it's not easy. We don't have it easy either or. So yeah, I think I'm coming around to understanding that I can't take all of this too personally. Sometimes some things work out for some people, sometimes they don't. And
no, one should not take it personally. And when somebody says that to you, मैं तो वापस बोल देती हूँ.
हाँ, मैं भी अब I'm like, मैं खुश हूँ. That's okay.
Like recently, I was at a friend's, you know, some function.
Right.
And her mum, who I adore.
Right.
She's very lovely.
Right.
You know, every time she sees me, it's the same question that she asks. Every time. तूने शादी नहीं करनी. So this time I just told her, I said, Auntie, आप जितने खुश हो करके, उतनी मैं बिना करे भी हूँ.
Yeah.
तो क्या problem है?
My mother also, you know, sometimes worries about me getting lonely and all of that. And I'm like, Mummy, आप का शादी करके कभी lonely नहीं feel किया आपने? You know, sometimes people are more lonely in relationships, in their sasurals, all of that. So, I mean, all of this has nothing to do with having companionship all the time. And ultimately, you just have to create a fuller life for yourself.
Also, alone and lonely में बहुत फर्क होता है.
Yeah, exactly.
We might be alone.
Yeah, but exactly.
You're not lonely.
Yeah.
मुझे बड़ा अजीब लगता है when people say, oh, this person is going the family way.
Right.
When they're having a child.
Right.
You know, when the wife is expecting. And I'm like, family way क्या होता है?
Right.
अगर आपके पास बच्चा नहीं है तो you don't have a family.
Yeah.
Are your parents not your family? Are your friends not your family? Are your siblings not your family?
Yeah.
You only have a family when you have a child.
Yeah.
How unfair is that?
Yeah. Completely.
Going the family way.
Yeah. I mean, even I can't sometimes, you know, reason with these weird narratives that people have and this presumption that it'll only be this if there is this, you know, and there is no other way out.
Yeah. Acha, tell me something. Has your definition of a partner changed from your 20s to your 30s?
In a lot of aspects, it has, Bani. And even in my 30s, I feel like from my early 30s to now, like there are some things that I am not willing to negotiate. I feel like therapy with me has been really helpful in understanding the attachment patterns that I had. And what would I look for and what would I completely overlook, which would then turn on me, you know. So I've realized that as boring as certain things might be, this is what eventually, for the sake of longevity and safety as a person, you need to like seek out in men or people, potential partners, which I think has been helping. At least it helps me like keep the fluff out.
What are your non-negotiables?
my non-negotiables are trustworthiness, responsibility, sense of accountability, reliability. Basically, the foundations of any healthy person and maybe a healthy equation that you can forge with someone for the long term.
Yeah.
Even if it is for the short term, like there are how they make me feel, whether I'm made to feel safe, valued, seen, heard, you know, taken into account, all of that. How am I treated? How they treat people in general, you know. I mean, certain personality traits which I sometimes wouldn't really take into account, and how I feel around people which I wouldn't take into account. I feel like I'm more about what the other person, I've been conditioned to look out for what other people are feeling more than how I am feeling. And I think now that gaze that I would put out to make sure that I am enough for people is now inward, where I'm like, are they enough for me? And I think that narrative somewhere at least makes me not waste my time on people who don't make me feel good or safe around them.
I also feel, taking on what you said, that two complete people can be good partners, or two incomplete people can somehow make it work. But a complete and an incomplete person just don't sit well together. And I think that your 20s and your experiences in your 20s are very telling of whether you've been working towards feeling complete on your own or not.
And Bani, the thing is, you know, not everybody is capable or reaches a place in their 30s or even 40s where they reach completion. But you know, if you have worked on yourself and if you've built your life a certain way, then settling for someone who hasn't, or to filling in the blanks in their life which take a toll on your whole life. So I mean, you know, in your 30s, you don't want to take on liabilities if you have gotten to places where you're independent and self-reliant. Which is why sometimes, you know, options shrink, because sometimes some people don't really care about working on themselves, which is sad.
I agree. By the way, you do realize that the internet has so many theories that you and Ankush are in a relationship.
I am not, Bani. Ankush is like the stupid younger sibling that I have, but I didn't want an additional. And I think him and me started creating videos, you know, for a publication that we used to work for. And chanced upon this insane, you know, like comfort and chemistry in terms of how we'd improv and work.
You guys are brilliant together.
I mean, it's surprising, but I think it's inherently because the person that he is, who's, I think when he has to be, he makes a lot of room for people. It's very easy to be comfortable around him. And generally the fact that, you know, we discovered this weird vibe and friendship and chemistry through the course of being very wary around each other when we started working. And then discovering that, bhai, this person is home. You know? So no, I think that way it's too great a friendship. And he's just, there's too much of a sibling energy thing there.
No, I get that. I get that. I have particularly loved the times when he's done your makeup. And you've been talking to the camera, and I wanted to ask you, what is your obsession with the Kardashians?
I don't know. I think they're accent, Bani. I think secretly everybody wants to have what they have, but one can't. And then they're so astoundingly bloody tunnel vision sometimes, and then there are these moments of like smartness also. It's a very interesting life that they lead, with obviously the abundance that they have, which also makes it aspirational.
I recently saw a video where Kylie picked her car based on the bag that she was carrying.
Oh, poor little rich girl.
I'm just like, wow. That's something.
That's really something. See, how can you not be intrigued by that shit, you know?
No, I am. I've also watched the Kardashians also.
So I feel like I can't watch them, but I think then I started watching the new season of the Kardashians on Disney Hotstar. And I was like, I am totally judging myself, but every week I relentlessly wait. Thursday, you know, 12 a.m. it has to release, I will watch it.
Kardashians तो फिर भी ठीक है, मैंने राखी का स्वयंवर भी देखा है, तो let's not.
No, but Rakhi Sawant is legend.
icon. She's an icon.
She's an icon. Yeah. Like, things she says, bro, like there's this compilation of one-liners by Rakhi Sawan. And I swear, I was like, bro, Rakhi ji, I feel you.
I think recently she said in some video in a गाड़ी कि सब मुझे advice
हाँ,
जरूरत तो मुझे पैसे की है
मुझे छोड़ दो, मुझे अकेला छोड़ दो. Recently there was this video she released. मोदी जी, देखिए, मैं यहाँ potholes में deal कर रही हूँ, आप मुझे चांद पे पहुँचा दो मुझे चांद पे. So yeah, whatever. I really like her.
Love Rakhi.
She's, yeah.
Acha, speaking of iconic characters, Priyanka ki mummy is my favorite.
Right.
And I have a couple of questions to ask about that.
Right.
एक तो उसकी inspiration क्या थी कि have you found your mum snooping on your phone?
Yeah, Bani, I don't know. I was again shooting a video sketch with Ankush where we were supposed to play different characters of whatever. We were just shooting a bunch of videos and we needed like a new bunch of like parent characters. So I remember, we used to go to this restaurant in Def called Moritz. Yeah, there's this place called Shack there. And there used to be this one, server person there who had a very peculiar accent he'd talk in, which was like, so I have a friend called Zorian and he was Zorian's like special guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Zorian was treated like royalty there. So he'd be like, Zorian sir, आप नहीं आते, इतना टाइम हो गया है कि आप आए नहीं हो. हम इतने दिन से वेट कर रहे हैं, आप नहीं आए. So his way of talking, there was this weird rhythm to it which was just very interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened that one day I just started like imitating this guy's accent but in a female mom like voice. And it worked. Yeah, we didn't think me and
worked
Ankush,
like a charm.
It's just that we just had so much fun shooting it, so we were like, okay, maybe individually we'll do these videos
because
later.
While you're shooting in the cuts also, you guys start laughing.
Yeah, but I think that's just the nature of the
endearing.
content also we do.
Yeah.
I think we discover through the course of these, like perverted like one-liners and double meaning things that अरे ये तो कितना stupid and funny sound कर रहा है. So both of us sometimes just lose it.
Love it. प्रियंका की मम्मी का दुपट्टा हमेशा रेड क्यों होता है?
यार देखो, टेक्निकली अगर मैं आपको सेंसिबल आंसर दूं तो वो एक्चुअली ना रिकॉल वैल्यू के लिए. ये सवाल मेरी मम्मी रिसेंटली तो 5 दिन पहले माय मदर फॉट आल्सो विद मी. शी इज लाइक, क्यों वो अच्छे कपड़े नहीं पहन सकती, कुछ नया नहीं पहन सकती. आई एम लाइक, मम्मी ये रिकॉल वैल्यू है. इट्स लाइक व्हेन पीपल सी दैट रेड दुपट्टा दे नो, अच्छा प्रियंका की मम्मी. हाँ. So if I repeat it, then I don't have to try too hard to establish what I'm doing. The dupatta also establishes it. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a funny take on it. I'd say Priyanka ki mummy is just too like that. सब घर के कपड़े, So the red dupatta is just like, oh, shirt पहन ली, अब दुपट्टा पहन लेती हूँ कि बिना दुपट्टे के नहीं घूमना का कोई आसपास है तो. So yeah, that could be one way of looking at it. But technically the reason is that I want to create recall.
Fair, because see, I observed it.
Yeah.
मुझे याद था हर बार कि यार प्रियंका की मम्मी हमेशा रेड दुपट्टा पहनती है. Fun.
Right.
अच्छा, the one thing that I found very funny,
right.
I had heard this from you in a podcast and मैं पढ़ूंगी क्योंकि मुझे बहुत हंसी आई थी सुन के. You said कि universe and my timing doesn't match.
Right.
We both seem to have PCOD. Please explain.
Yeah, I feel like I am always at the right place at the wrong time. My period is always at the right place at the wrong time. It's like everything is just mixed up. The timing of it all is just fucked up.
तो manifestation नहीं चलती आपके
यार पता नहीं. I think I'm manifesting wrong money. I need to like figure. I think I just have too many thoughts. So when I have too many thoughts,
फिर वो किसी भी direction में चले
जाते हैं. So the universe is like, bro, I can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Like please
be a little more clear.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think I need to work on that skill set. And sometimes I also feel like my life is a badly written sitcom. Like, it's like it's a strange situational comedy, but हंसी भी नहीं आती, रोना भी नहीं आता. So it's a combination of PCOD and bad writing.
पर आप बैठ के like journaling या ऐसा कुछ करते हो?
Not very proactively. मतलब मुझे करना चाहिए. But sometimes I feel like I'm too lazy. Yeah, मतलब it's basically a lazy person thing. It has nothing to do with the power of journaling. Because कभी-कभी जब मैं करती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है हाँ, it feels like that whole pensive effect. Dumbledore just takes his memory out and puts this in a sieve. So it's that. So it's helpful.
Yeah.
But I'm lazy.
ये journaling मेरे से भी नहीं हुई आज तक. मतलब I can meditate rigorously. That's not a problem.
Right.
But then to sit down and write your thoughts.
Yeah. That's true.
Haven't been able to really get down to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't maintain the regularity that it requires somehow, so.
Fair. Acha, tell us what is keeping you busy these days?
What
do we look forward to from Shibani?
So, I have the movie coming out, Bani. So right now what's keeping me busy is just the permutation and combination of promotion dates. It's like they'll block something and then the last minute they'll drop it and they'll change it. There's just so much like, oh my god, back and forth and dates ka jhol that right now I'm trying to micromanage. But I think I'm super excited about the movie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe finally after this I will stop debuting. Like 6 years of just debuting everywhere is going to finally come to an end. I will not have to constantly be like, yeah, nahi, mera debut nahi hai, but it'll probably create some credibility. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's a fun movie. So I'm also, and I haven't seen it yet, I haven't seen the final cut. So yeah, it's a bunch of that, things that
and what else are you working on right now?
Nothing specifically, Bani. I had like some 2 things that I got, as I told you in the beginning, that you can get everything to the last finish line and then be thrown out. So yeah, I got ejected out of 2 projects. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
So I think right now I'm not really, working on anything specifically, but I do feel like I might just start working on my art a little bit more. Updating the software a little bit because I haven't done that in a while. So I think depending on what the movie, the response it creates, if there is work that comes in, great. I'm auditioning, I'm reaching out to people. And in the meanwhile, I'm thinking I'll start probably just doing some acting workshops all over again because...
That's so important, and I love that, I loved how you said updating the software. I think that's so important.
Because, we forget that ultimately, I keep whining over sometimes, the lack of succeeding at cracking work or just the fluidity of work, growing. But I forget that the reason that I started acting or the reason that I'm an actor today is not because I wanted to be Shah Rukh Khan entirely, but also because I liked the art. So what am I doing for the art? If I fail colossally as an actor tomorrow, at least I don't want to fail knowing that I also do not work on my kala. So I feel like वो भी एक aspect है which Bombay gives you access to, which I think I am going to actively explore.
Very wonderfully said. No, I appreciate that. It's given me also a little encouragement कि maybe वैसे थोड़ा I could be getting rusty in like my business endeavors also, and I think I should just keep learning.
Exactly. I feel like through the course of the rigmarole of it all, we forget that the learning also should not stop because that's also what feeds and drives us. So. Yeah, I think that'll be my...
Fair. And how does Shibani unwind after hours?
Bani, it's a bunch of things. I think I like a lot of like silence and me time. I like just coming back home to myself to recover, spending time with myself. Sometimes also meeting some people feels like a little bit of a release. But largely it's just that, I feel like I like coming back home or being in scenarios where we don't talk shop.
Yeah.
Where there is no recall and crying and whining about the shit that's going on in life, but more just like nurturing healthy activities and conversations which keep me stable. Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. I actually unwind best in solitude.
Same. Yeah. Mostly. I've noticed this is what helps me the most.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I actually really enjoy my company.
And that's the best.
Yeah, but it's very counterproductive because then you're not a social person by the end of it.
I think मारो बोली नहीं बनना.
I know that.
छोड़ो.
मुझे कभी लगता है कि शायद मैं कभी भी डेट नहीं कर पाऊँ because मुझे अपनी कंपनी बहुत पसंद है. But ठीक है, I'm okay.
ये प्रशस्ति की वीडियो में भी था. She's just like, I went to my therapist and I said कि, कि कोई लड़का क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है? And she's just like, वो एक self healing चीज होती है. तो she's like, अरे ये सब मुझे पता है. He's like, नहीं तुमने ज़्यादा ही कर ली है.
That's true. कुछ ज़्यादा ही प्यार हो गया अपने आप से. हम किसी और के पास जाते ही नहीं होंगे.
Self love तुम्हारा बिल्कुल peak पे है. इसीलिए तुम्हें भी पसंद नहीं आ रहा.
That's true. I feel that.
Hard relate. Acha, we're going to play a game with you since we've spoken about dating.
Right.
And about being single girls in 30s.
Right.
It's called Delhi Girl on a Date.
Okay.
So imagine you're a Delhi girl on a date and we'll give you scenarios.
Right.
And you just have to respond to them.
Cool.
However. You go on a date and the guy says, I'm such a fan.
Leave within 40 minutes.
Why 40 minutes?
My deadline's 40 minutes.
Achha,
with people
to
who
be
don't
polite
mention.
also.
Yeah, because I don't know. See, it's also bad. Maybe I shouldn't do that, no? This is too
But
prejudiced.
you can leave if you don't like
No, but
something.
I feel like just because somebody says they're a fan. Actually, no. Scratch that. I'm such a fan. I'll just smile and take the compliment, actually. And then I'll see where it's going. Unless this person starts putting demands on just expecting me to, like, I don't know, just
What
be
if they ask you to take a selfie? Sumukhi had that. Somebody took a selfie with her and left.
Yeah, it'll make for a great story. I've also realized, Bani, the great thing about the work I do and the life and the person that I am is all these, as I said, my life is a badly written sitcom, but it just makes for fun stories.
Fair.
So, yeah, there'll be content there. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah. He insists on paying.
I'll let him.
Huh.
Yeah. First date, yeah, why not?
Okay, and he instantly talks about shadi. अब कर लो leave 40 minutes में.
हाँ, मतलब I'll be like वो ज़्यादा हो रहा है ये, हाँ.
First
Let's
date
take
पे
it
तो नहीं कर
slow.
सकते.
Exactly. What the hell is going on?
अच्छा, he says I believe in equal rights, but I'm not a feminist.
Leave in 20 minutes.
हाँ.
Yeah.
Zero अकल.
Yeah. Equal rights and feminists coming from a man in the same sentence.
हाँ.
Leave in 10 actually.
Yeah. Says you're not like other girls.
Leave in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very quickly says your place or mine.
Depending on the chemistry. Yeah.
ठीक है. He makes you wait.
Benefit of doubt.
हाँ. Traffic भी बुरा ही होता है वैसे.
हाँ. So.
कभी-कभी हो जाता है.
So that's why. Not a hard pass. Yeah.
And he tries to be like a little intimidating and he tries to order like your food and drinks for you.
Yeah, leave in 16 minutes.
ठीक.
I mean, देखना पड़ेगा. But I feel like if that is his whole personality, then I'll just get very like irritated. And that's not a great place to be on the first date. So, yeah.
So that's it. Great chatting with you.
Same here, Bani. This has been fun.
All the best for your movie. We are going to go and watch it.
Yeah, please
and
do.
everybody should watch it.
Yeah.
And all the best for all of your future projects. You're going to get them.
Thank you.
And कीड़े पड़े उनको जिन्ने निकालो.
Seriously. Exactly. अगर नहीं भी मिलता है तो ठीक है मेरे पास I have my content. This is what I keep telling myself. I have my work.
Yeah.
So everything else can happen on its own time.
Yeah. Perfect. Great chat. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you on the big screen.
Thank you so much, Bani. Thank you all about you for having me. This is great. This has been amazing.